Hello, everyone. I know it's been a few weeks since you've seen me. I put out that video about 2 weeks ago on our responsive return plan, and we had distilled the plan down to a page and shared that with the community. But since that time, there have been some updates from TEA. There have been some updates from obviously the governor, which have had some impacts on our plan. And so, the purpose of me coming to you today in this video is to give you an update of where we are as an organization and in our planning for our responsive return for next year, and also just to kind of give you a sense of where we're going in the next several days and several weeks. In thinking, how could I try to organize my thoughts for you today? I was, just looking online for some inspiration, and one of the things that came to me is that our organization right now, VISD, we're very much on this. I'm trying to make it a fun experience that is the hiking trip that we're all on. Well, we're on this massive hiking trip in uncharted territory, and trying to enjoy the process as much as we can, but at the same time recognizing that safety is paramount at all times, and that maybe is the best way that I can sort of think about what it is that we're doing right now in that um, there is an experience that we're all going through right now, and at the same time, there's this constant concern over everyone's safety, students, teachers, support staff, parents, families, and the entire Victoria community, quite frankly. And so I found this article online that was titled "How to Be a Good Trail Leader: The Six Responsibilities of Hiking Up Front," written by Hartley Brody. And I thought it was fascinating. So I'm just going to take you through the article right now as a way to organize my thoughts. And so number one, what it said was keep an eye out for the trail markers. And so what does that mean for us? Well, what it means for us is as we get updates from TEA, it's going to be really important for us to say, okay, this is a trail marker in this is the direction that we should go. We got some really important health updates yesterday from TEA. That was Tuesday. And those health updates talked about the need for masks and the 6 foot social distancing and the requirements and protocols that are going to um, be required for all schools in order to have a safe return. The other big release was around attendance and instructional minutes and what the school day looks like. The implications from that document are that our revolving remote plan, which was the plan we were thinking about for middle school and high school, is probably not going to be a workable plan at this point. Essentially, distilling the entire document down into the sentence that was probably most impactful is that TEA is requiring on-campus instruction for all students, or at least making that an option. Not saying that all students have to come back for on-campus instruction, but that we as a district must require that. So this notion of a hybrid schedule is not something that it looks like TEA is going to move forward on. We're going to have more updates for you that for in the coming weeks on that one. But essentially, just know that there's a lot more trail markers that are coming up for us because TEA has set a schedule now, releasing information that's going to be, I think, pretty aggressive over the next 4 weeks. Number two on that article was stop at all river crossings and trail junctions. This is a trail junction. We hit some of those marker signs and we said to ourselves, okay, time out. We need to take a stop here. We need to take a pause and reorient ourselves. It means we're going to have to change the revolving remote plan, for instance, and start off on a different path to make something that works for our middle and high school age students that keeps everyone, again, safe. So it's important to remember that when we get to certain junctions, we're going to have to stop and pay attention to what's happening. The third point was the one that struck me most and why I wanted to share it with you today. It says, know what challenges lie ahead. And that's kind of tricky, obviously, in this uncharted territory that we find ourselves in. A lot of what it has us doing as an administrative team is kind of running out ahead as far as we can to get a sense of what's out there and to get a sense of what's coming and to do some advanced planning so that we can come back to the group and report to you what we're seeing on the front. And so we're doing a lot of that pre-planning and planning and trying to get feedback from folks so that we don't take the entire organization down the wrong path. We know that when we take a step forward as VISD, that we want to take everyone in the right direction. So sometimes when you hear us going through planning exercises, please know that the big purpose in doing that and setting up these task forces is just so that we can know what challenges lie ahead. Number four is also something to keep in mind. Manage the group's pace. I like that too. This is not a sprint. Many of you know I'm a cyclist, avid cyclist and runner. This is not a marathon that we're going to run at a sprinter's pace. We need to manage the group's pace and make sure that we're making forward progress, but that we're not trying to move too fast and then we start to lose people. So we're trying to manage that to the best of our ability. Number five was something I hadn't really thought of, but something important to talk about, I think, and that was set everyone's expectations when taking breaks. And so for many of our teaching and support staff, it's been the summer break, and it's a well-deserved break, and certainly one that we hope you're enjoying and staying safe and recharging your batteries. Um, Throughout the summer, as most of you are probably aware, the administrative team is working frenetically to try to get school, you know, on pace for the start of next year. One of the things that this has me thinking about is the need to insist that our administrative team also takes a break. One of the things that's really important is that everybody gets a chance to recharge before we start the school year. We know when the school year starts, we're going to need everyone at their peak. So I think I need to set some expectations for the administrative team to make sure that they take at least a 2 minute break and rehydrate, for lack of a better way to put it. Number six was be proactive about keeping everyone comfortable. And again, a great reminder for me that um, it's super important that everybody has some level of comfort around what's happening. And I think that that's the thing that is that is paramount for me in recognizing that I want for everyone to be comfortable in this journey, but recognizing that it is in some ways dangerous, difficult, and potentially perilous. Um, we know that safety is top concern for everyone, and so we have a certain heightened awareness for that and for everyone as we think about it. But at the same time, we got into teaching because we love being with kids. We love teaching, and there's great fun in teaching. There's great joy in teaching. There's great passion in teaching, and the last thing we want to do is get to a point where we lose any of that, or people are starting to feel that they're losing some of that. So, trying to maintain a sense of comfort and joy around the process of education is really important to us. Okay, so I'm going to start wrapping up now. Some next steps, things that are going to happen over the next week or two. We have a task force put together that's going to meet on Monday and Tuesday of next week. And this task force is made up largely of parents throughout the district. Every campus is represented. We have 130 people signed up for three different task forces. And what that group is going to do is they're going to respond to what is our still working draft of our responsive return plan. So in that document, there are several pages of health protocols and standards and safety standards. How does a visitor come into the class, into the building, and when? And if a student is has symptoms, where are we going to put the student in? What way are we going to keep everybody else safe? How are we going to keep the staff safe? Classroom procedures, those types of things. So we're going to take the parents through that part of the document, and then we're going to ask them to respond to that. What makes sense? What doesn't make sense? How can we make this better? Then the next part of the document is to turn to the elementary portion of the plan and kind of explain to parents, this is where we're at with this. This is where the virtual, off-campus learning is at this point. This is where the on-campus portion of learning is. Again, we're still committed to giving everyone a choice. If folks want to be home for instruction, if they want to keep their kids home for instruction, we want to allow that. And if people want to send their students to school, we want to allow for that too. So we're going to put both of those pieces up in front of parents and ask again for thoughts and feedback. How can we make this plan better? What questions do you have? And then we're going to turn to the middle school plan, and we're going to do the same thing. Now, the middle school plan, admittedly, is probably going to be a little more general than the elementary plan because some of the changes that came from TEA yesterday had a pretty dramatic impact on the middle and high school plan. So we only have about 4 days to redraft that and try to make something that works. But again, we're going to stand the plan up for our parents and ask for their thoughts and feedback, and then move to the high school plan and talk about thoughts and feedback there too. One of the things that we've really tried to work hard on with the high school plan is making sure that we're thinking about CTE coursework for those students that need that, thinking about students who may be involved in dual credit, thinking about students and their ability to participate in extracurriculars and in co-curriculars in sports and athletics to the greatest extent possible. Um, and so we've got some pretty good working ideas that we want to take to parents and get their thoughts and feedback. After we've gone through that process, then we'll of course continue working on the plan, and then we're going to set up some task forces with our teaching staff as well. And that'll be one of the final steps in the process before we stand up our final version of the plan. In with the teachers and support staff task forces that we're going to put together, we're going to go through the same process. Here's the next version of the draft plan, and what are your thoughts and feedback? What questions do you have, and how can we make it better? My firmly held belief is that anytime we make a decision, that the folks who are going to be impacted by that decision should have a voice in the process to the greatest extent possible, and we're committed to that. So know that there's going to be an opportunity for staff feedback as well, and that's going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. All of this in the era of radical transparency, we're going to be pushing everything up online. So in the very near future, you're going to see our next version of the draft plan. You may see a version of our instructional continuity plan, which is a deeper dive into the curriculum itself. You're also going to get a look at our what we call the responsive return plan, which is a sort of a compendium to the actual educational plan that we're putting together. So all of that's going to be found online. We will, of course, push it out to you so you know where to find it, and have access to it. And lastly, just know that we are here. We are here for you. If you have any needs at all, if you have any questions, if you just need to kind of reach out and talk to someone and make sure that you're being heard, please do not hesitate to reach out right now. It's really important that we're there for each other and taking care of each other. Um, we've got this really fun hike in front of us, and we're not too far away from embarking on the journey. So I guess this is my announcement to the group to start getting your things together and get your backpacks ready, and we're about to start moving forward on our path as we continue. So thanks again, and I'll be back and chat with you when I'm able.